Let me tell you something right now. Before doubt gets a chance to sit next to you, before fear starts whispering excuses in your ear, you are not here by accident. You woke up today with breath in your body, fire in your spirit, and purpose stamped on your life. That means something. That means you still have work to do, and greatness is still calling your name. Too many people are walking around with big dreams trapped inside small thinking. They've got vision, but no permission from themselves. Today that changes. First, ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. You cannot expect life to hand you something you never had the courage to ask for. Ask for more out of life. Ask for wisdom. Ask for opportunities. Ask for growth. Ask even when your voice shakes. Ask even when people laugh. Because every break through you admire started as a request someone else was bold enough to make. When you ask, you signal to the world and to yourself that you believe you're worthy of more. Second, believe. This is where most people quit, and they haven't even started yet. Belief isn't just hope. Belief is conviction. It's standing firm when nothing around you makes sense. It's trusting the vision even when the results haven't shown up yet. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You just need you. When you believe, you stop negotiating with doubt. You stop shrinking to fit rooms you've outgrown. You start walking like the future you're praying for already exists. Third, work. And here's the part nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs. Faith without work is just a wish. Dreams don't respond to talk. They respond to effort. You've got to grind when it's uncomfortable. You've got to stay disciplined when motivation runs out. You've got to show up early, stay late, and keep going when nobody's clapping. The work is the proof that you really believe what you asked for. Understand this. Delays are not denials. Struggle is not failure. Every setback is a setup if you refuse to quit. Life will test you, stretch you, humble you, but it will also reward you if you stay faithful to the process. So here's my challenge to you. Ask boldly for the life you want. Believe fiercely that it's possible for you. And work relentlessly like there is no other option. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop asking for permission. Stop doubting the power already inside you. Get up, lock in, and go to work on the life you know you were born to live. You are not here by coincidence or chance. Your presence in this moment is evidence that there is still something meaningful for you to do. Every breath you take is proof that your story is unfinished and that your contribution still matters. Too many people move through life feeling invisible, unimportant, or replaceable. But the truth is that your existence carries weight. There is a reason you were born with your specific talents, instincts, struggles, and desires. Those weren't randomly assigned. They were built into you to prepare you for a role that only you can fulfill. Purpose isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it shows up quietly, disguised as a passion you can't ignore or a problem you feel compelled to solve. Other times, it reveals itself through adversity, pushing you to develop strength, empathy, and resilience. The challenges you faced were not meant to disqualify you. They were meant to shape you. Every hardship added a layer of wisdom, endurance, and depth that cannot be learned any other way. What you survived wasn't designed to break you. It was designed to build the person capable of carrying what's next. Potential lives inside everyone, but it doesn't announce itself with certainty. It often appears as a feeling that there must be more than what you're currently experiencing. That restlessness isn't dissatisfaction. It's an internal signal reminding you that growth is necessary. When you ignore that signal, life starts to feel repetitive and unfulfilling. When you listen to it, you begin to realize that you were never meant to stay where you are forever. Expansion is part of your design. Many people underestimate themselves because they measure their worth against their current circumstances. They look at where they are and assume that's all they'll ever be. But potential is not defined by your present position. It's defined by your capacity to evolve. The seed and the tree don't look alike, yet they are the same thing at different stages. Just because you don't look like the final version yet doesn't mean it isn't already inside you, waiting for the right conditions to grow. Your voice matters because it carries experiences no one else has lived. Your ideas matter because they are shaped by a perspective no one else possesses. Your journey matters because someone else will one day need proof that it's possible to rise from where you started. Purpose is not about fame or recognition. It's about impact. It's about showing up fully as who you are and allowing your life to influence others simply by being lived with intention. When you begin to understand that you are here for a reason, responsibility replaces fear. You stop playing small, not because you're arrogant, but because you realize that wasting your potential is the real loss. You start treating your time, energy, and choices with greater respect. You begin to see yourself not as someone trying to become important, but as someone who already is, and now must live like it. Asking is not weakness. It is an act of courage. It requires you to admit that you want more than what you currently have and to be honest about the life you desire. Many people stay silent because they are afraid of rejection, embarrassment, or disappointment. They convince themselves that wanting more is selfish or unrealistic, so they lower their expectations and learn to live with less. But silence doesn't protect you. It limits you. When you refuse to ask, you quietly agree to remain exactly where you are. The first person you must ask is yourself. You have to give yourself permission to dream without editing your vision to make others comfortable. That internal conversation matters more than any request you make out loud. If you don't believe you're allowed to want more time, more fulfillment, more success, or more peace, you'll never pursue it seriously. Asking starts when you stop disqualifying your own desires before anyone else gets the chance to do it for you. Asking also requires clarity. Vague wishes produce vague results. You can't ask for better and expect transformation. You must be specific about what you want, what you need, and what you are willing to grow into. Clarity forces honesty, and honesty exposes responsibility. Once you clearly ask for something, you can no longer pretend you don't know what direction to move in. You begin to recognize opportunities because you finally defined what you were seeking. Many people avoid asking because they fear being told no. But a no is not a verdict on your worth. It is information. It teaches you where adjustments are needed, where preparation is missing, or where persistence must be applied. Every successful person has been denied access, turned down, or overlooked at some point. What separates them is not luck, but the refusal to let rejection silence future requests. Asking against, smarter, stronger, and more prepared is how progress is made. There is also power in asking beyond yourself. When you ask for guidance, mentorship, or support, you acknowledge that growth doesn't happen in isolation. Pride tells you to struggle alone. Wisdom tells you to seek insight. No one builds anything meaningful without help, even if that help comes in the form of advice, correction, or accountability. Asking opens doors that effort alone cannot unlock. When you ask boldly, you shift your identity from someone waiting to someone choosing. You stop hoping life will notice you and start participating in your own advancement. Asking is the declaration that you are no longer content with survival. You are pursuing purpose. It aligns your thoughts, actions, and expectations toward expansion. The moment you ask with intention, you move from passive existence into active creation. Belief is the foundation that determines how far you are willing to go when evidence is missing. It is easy to feel confident when results are visible and progress is obvious, but true belief is formed in moments of uncertainty. It shows up when nothing around you confirms that you are on the right path, yet something inside you refuses to turn back. That internal conviction is what carries you through the early stages when effort feels invisible and success seems distant. Most people struggle with belief because they rely on external validation to sustain it. They look for approval, encouragement, or reassurance from others, and when it doesn't come, doubt creeps in. But belief that depends on applause is fragile. The strongest belief is self-generated, rooted in an understanding of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. When you stop needing permission from others, your belief becomes steady instead of conditional. Belief also requires patience. Growth rarely happens on your preferred timeline. You may do everything right and still experience delays, obstacles, or periods of stagnation. In those moments, belief becomes a decision rather than a feeling. You choose to trust the process even when emotions fluctuate. You choose to stay committed when quitting would be easier. That choice, repeated consistently, is what builds resilience and emotional strength. Doubt will always attempt to challenge belief by highlighting past failures, current limitations, or future uncertainty. It will remind you of mistakes you made and moments you fell short. But belief does not deny those realities. It refuses to be defined by them. Instead of seeing failure as proof of inadequacy, belief reframes it as evidence of effort and experience. Every attempt, successful or not, adds information that strengthens future performance. Belief influences behavior long before it produces results. When you believe, you prepare differently, speak differently, and carry yourself differently. You show up with intention instead of hesitation. You take risks you would otherwise avoid. Your actions begin to align with the future you are working toward, even if that future is not yet visible. This alignment creates momentum, and momentum reinforces belief through action rather than outcome. Strong belief also demands mental discipline. You must guard your thoughts carefully, because what you consistently think becomes what you accept as possible. Negative self-talk, comparison, and fear-driven narratives weaken belief over time. Replacing them with deliberate focus, constructive reflection, and purposeful habits strengthens your internal framework. Belief is not blind optimism. It is trained confidence developed through awareness and repetition. When belief is unshakable, circumstances lose their power to define you. You stop measuring yourself by temporary setbacks and start anchoring your identity in long-term vision. You understand that confidence is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear make your decisions. Belief becomes the steady force that keeps you moving forward, even when the path is unclear and the outcome is uncertain self. Belief becomes essential the moment you realize that external validation is unpredictable and often unavailable when you need it most. Depending on others to confirm your worth places your confidence in circumstances you cannot control. People are influenced by their own fears, biases, limitations, and perspectives, which means their opinion of you is rarely a full reflection of your ability or potential. If you wait for universal approval before taking action, you will remain stuck, because it almost never arrives at the beginning of anything meaningful. Many people underestimate how often doubt from others is not personal, but projected. When someone questions your vision, it often reveals more about their own limitations than yours. They may not see the path because they have never walked it, or they may not believe it's possible because they gave up on something similar themselves. Allowing their disbelief to dictate your decisions hands your future to people who are not responsible for the outcome. Self-belief is built through internal consistency rather than external praise. It grows when your actions align with your values and intentions, even when no one is watching. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce trust in your own ability to follow through. That trust compounds over time, becoming a quiet confidence that does not need to be explained or defended. You begin to move with certainty, not because you are guaranteed success, but because you trust yourself to adapt and persist regardless of the outcome. When you rely too heavily on validation, you become reactive instead of intentional. Praise makes you comfortable, criticism makes you hesitant, and silence makes you question your direction. Self-belief stabilizes you. It allows you to receive feedback without losing identity and to face criticism without collapsing. You learn to evaluate opinions rather than absorb them, choosing what aligns with growth and discarding what does not serve your progress. Believing in yourself does not mean ignoring reality or rejecting improvement. It means understanding that your current level is not your final form. You can acknowledge weaknesses without letting them define you. Self-belief creates a mindset where learning is embraced rather than feared, and mistakes are treated as information rather than proof of inadequacy. This mindset encourages experimentation, adaptability, and long-term development. There will be moments when support disappears, when encouragement fades, and when your efforts go unnoticed. In those moments, self-belief becomes the fuel that keeps you moving. It reminds you that your journey does not require an audience to be valid. Progress made in silence is still progress. Confidence rooted in self-belief does not waver based on who is present or who is watching. When you stop seeking validation, you reclaim energy that was once spent trying to be accepted. That energy can be redirected into focus, discipline, and execution. You become less concerned with proving yourself and more committed to improving yourself. Self-belief shifts your attention from external approval to internal growth, allowing you to move forward with clarity, independence, and resolve. Work is the bridge between intention and outcome. Without it, belief remains internal and dreams remain abstract. Effort is what gives substance to desire and direction to faith. Many people admire the idea of success, but underestimate the discipline required to sustain consistent action. Work is not just about physical effort. It is about mental focus, emotional endurance, and the willingness to show up even when enthusiasm fades. Motivation is temporary by nature. It rises and falls based on mood, environment, and immediate results. Discipline, however, is reliable. It carries you forward on days when motivation is absent and excuses are tempting. Real progress is built during those unglamorous moments when repetition feels boring and results feel distant. The ability to continue anyway is what separates intention from achievement. Work also requires structure. Random effort produces random outcomes. Purposeful work is guided by clear priorities, routines, and standards. It involves learning what deserves your energy and what does not. You begin to understand that being busy is not the same as being productive. Focused effort on the right actions, repeated consistently over time, creates momentum that compounds. Small, disciplined steps taken daily often outperform occasional bursts of intensity. Consistency matters more than intensity because growth responds to repetition. Showing up regularly trains your mind and body to operate at a higher level. Each time you engage in the work, you strengthen skills, sharpen judgment, and increase capacity. Progress may feel slow at first, but consistency builds a foundation strong enough to support larger opportunities when they arrive. Work prepares you to handle success without being overwhelmed by it. Work also exposes resistance. Fatigue, doubt, distraction, and fear surface when you commit to sustained effort. These challenges are not obstacles to avoid, they are indicators of growth. Resistance reveals where discipline must be strengthened and where mindset needs adjustment. By working through discomfort instead of retreating from it, you expand your tolerance for effort and your confidence in your ability to persist. There will be times when work goes unnoticed and unappreciated. Effort without immediate recognition can feel discouraging, but unseen work often produces the most significant results. Foundations are built below the surface before anything visible appears above it. Every hour invested, every skill practiced, and every lesson learned adds to a reserve that will eventually be drawn upon when opportunity demands readiness. Work also builds credibility with yourself. Each completed task reinforces the identity of someone who follows through. This internal credibility strengthens belief and reinforces commitment. You stop questioning whether you are capable and start focusing on how to improve execution. Work transforms confidence from something you feel into something you trust. Effort aligned with belief creates progress that is sustainable rather than accidental. You begin to understand that success is rarely the result of a single breakthrough moment, but of thousands of intentional actions taken over time. Work turns faith into movement and movement into momentum, steadily shaping the life you are building through deliberate action. Work is the bridge between intention and outcome. Without it, belief remains internal and dreams remain abstract. Effort is what gives substance to desire and direction to faith. Many people admire the idea of success, but underestimate the discipline required to sustain consistent action. Work is not just about physical effort. It is about mental focus, emotional endurance, and the willingness to show up even when enthusiasm fades. Motivation is temporary by nature. It rises and falls based on mood, environment, and immediate results. Discipline, however, is reliable. It carries you forward on days when motivation is absent and excuses are tempting. Real progress is built during those unglamorous moments when repetition feels boring and results feel distant. The ability to continue anyway is what separates intention from achievement. Work also requires structure. Random effort produces random outcomes. Purposeful work is guided by clear priorities, routines, and standards. It involves learning what deserves your energy and what does not. You begin to understand that being busy is not the same as being productive. Focused effort on the right actions, repeated consistently over time, creates momentum that compounds. Small, disciplined steps taken daily often outperform occasional bursts of intensity. Consistency matters more than intensity because growth responds to repetition. Showing up regularly trains your mind and body to operate at a higher level. Each time you engage in the work, you strengthen skills, sharpen judgment, and increase capacity. Progress may feel slow at first, but consistency builds a foundation strong enough to support larger opportunities when they arrive. Work prepares you to handle success without being overwhelmed by it. Work also exposes resistance. Fatigue, doubt, distraction, and fear surface when you commit to sustained effort. These challenges are not obstacles to avoid. They are indicators of growth. Resistance reveals where discipline must be strengthened and where mindset needs adjustment. By working through discomfort instead of retreating from it, you expand your tolerance for effort and your confidence in your ability to persist. There will be times when work goes unnoticed and unappreciated. Effort without immediate recognition can feel discouraging, but unseen work often produces the most significant results. Foundations are built below the surface before anything visible appears above it. Every hour invested, every skill practiced, and every lesson learned adds to a reserve that will eventually be drawn upon when opportunity demands readiness. Work also builds credibility with yourself. Each completed task reinforces the identity of someone who follows through. This internal credibility strengthens belief and reinforces commitment. You stop questioning whether you are capable and start focusing on how to improve execution. Work transforms confidence from something you feel into something you trust. Effort aligned with belief creates progress that is sustainable rather than accidental. You begin to understand that success is rarely the result of a single breakthrough moment, but of thousands of intentional actions taken over time. Work turns faith into movement and movement into momentum, steadily shaping the life you're building through deliberate action. Challenges are not interruptions to your journey. They are part of its design. Many people expect progress to be smooth, and when obstacles appear, they assume they are on the wrong path. In reality, resistance often confirms that growth is taking place. Difficulty stretches your capacity, forcing you to develop skills, patience, and resilience that comfort never requires. Without challenge, potential remains theoretical rather than tested. Setbacks have a way of exposing what needs strengthening. When plans fall apart or results don't match effort, weaknesses become visible, not to shame you, but to guide improvement. Every obstacle provides information. It reveals gaps in preparation, strategy, or mindset that can be addressed. Those lessons, though uncomfortable, prevent future failures that could be more damaging if encountered later without preparation. Delays are especially misunderstood. Waiting can feel like stagnation, but often it is a period of refinement. Timing matters, and growth must match opportunity. Receiving success too early can create pressure you are not yet equipped to manage. Delays allow you to build discipline, clarity, and emotional maturity so that when progress accelerates, you are stable enough to sustain it. What feels like being held back is often being built up. Struggle also builds perspective. When you experience hardship, you gain empathy and understanding that cannot be learned secondhand. This perspective deepens your character and strengthens your ability to lead, influence, or support others. People are often moved not by perfection, but by authenticity shaped through adversity. Your challenges become part of your credibility, adding depth to your voice and meaning to your message. Failure, when approached correctly, becomes one of the most effective teachers. It forces reflection, adaptation, and humility. Instead of signaling the end, it invites reassessment. Those who succeed long-term are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who learn how to respond to it constructively. Each failure refines judgment and improves decision-making, making future efforts more informed and strategic. Challenges also test commitment. When progress is slow and rewards are distant, it becomes clear whether your pursuit is driven by convenience or conviction. Easy paths attract casual interest. Difficult paths require dedication. Endurance through hardship strengthens resolve and reinforces identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who persists, someone who adapts, someone who does not retreat when circumstances become uncomfortable. Adversity has a way of clarifying priorities. It strips away distractions and reveals what truly matters. When pressure increases, unnecessary elements fall away, leaving focus sharpened and intention strengthened. This clarity allows you to redirect energy toward what is essential, making future actions more efficient and purposeful. Every challenge you face adds to your capacity. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable with experience. Resilience is built through repeated exposure to difficulty and recovery. Over time, you develop confidence not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. The struggles you endure today quietly prepare you to handle opportunities and responsibilities that would have overwhelmed you before.